Okay, let's move on to winter athletic summary. Tom? And John, if you want to step up.
A new suit, Tom? No black shirt?
You noticed. We're out shopping just for you, Kevin. Good evening. Good evening. We'd like to update the winter athletic summary. I'll start with the female sports. This winter, our girls' basketball squad was around 44 numbers, which is pretty consistent and pretty much at max for every year. They're pretty much at their capacity. Our girls' cheerleading has stayed steady for the last few years in the middle 33 to 36 range, two full levels of competition, and the varsity has reached state for the last 2 years, so they've had some nice successes. Girls' POMs, we have increased significantly this year in numbers and percentage-wise from 13 to 20, and we're hopeful to continue growing into two levels. We had a full-time volunteer this year, which enabled us to keep some extra kids with the training that was involved there, and they hopefully establish a lower level in the future that can compete also. The girls' gymnastics also had a nice percent increase in numbers from 11 to 17. We were down last year in numbers, but we explained that the change in rigor and the way that was new coaches came in, and that has basically come around. Our scoring improved significantly. Most of the other levels, other teams we played were very surprised at how competitive we were, and our scores are around 130 is very good. So we're hoping for a big improvement again next year, hoping for somewhere optimistically another 8 to 10 more gymnasts next year to add to it. So this anticipation comes from looking at our youth program and the age group program for the future years. So that was the female numbers for the winter.
Thank you.
Do you want to mention this too, and then I'll go into the boys? Yeah, as far as we just highlighted most of the individuals that won. In team respect, our girls basketball team had a 21-9 record overall, third place finish. So they had again a lot of victories there, and lost in our own regional here to Argo. The cheerleaders, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, in the numbers calculation, they as a team finished qualifying for state, and so they got to compete down at the state meet, and that was a highlight for 2 years in a row for them. The girls gymnastics team was a third place in the regional. Again, their scores teetering around an average of 130 by the end of the year was a nice improvement, and they had a couple junior varsity first place finishes. So again, see a continual building there. And then the competitive dance and POMs, again, searching again for some more wins next year and a higher finish in our regionals. But again, with the numbers improving, we think, again, that's going to give a lot more opportunities to the girls in that sport.
Thanks,
Okay.
Tom.
As far as the boys' sports programs go, we had 3 sports competing in the winter season. And starting off with wrestling, a new head coach, Coach Kirby, came in, did a nice job. Second place in the MSC conference for the wrestlers. Real good individual season for many of our wrestlers. We had 5 wrestlers get downstate this year as qualifiers, and that's quite a few for anybody's program. And they were mentioned previously as winning the award for state qualifier and many academic qualifiers, and also all conference. Our JV and varsity team, upcoming athletes doing well, 7-1 on a JV level, and the freshmen 8-4 overall. So Coach Kirby also started a new feeder program this year, so we're anticipating the numbers to obviously increase for future Bulldog wrestlers. So great job in his first year here. Moving on to boys swimming. Varsity had a very good dual meet season, 5-2 overall. They just wrapped up a couple weeks ago with, you met Matt, one of our divers that qualified for state, and also Jamoni was another diver that qualified for state, besides the 2 Rosa boys who we're going to miss. Joey did a great job in many events that he swam for us, and swam in 2 at the state meet a couple weeks ago. The JVs, good nucleus coming up. We still got Michael Rosa coming back, and then the JVs were 6-1, so some good success there, and placed third at our own RB invite. And our boys basketball program, a down year overall for wins and losses in Coach Tom McCluskey's last season, so we feel bad for that, but Tom handled it really well with a young group this year on the varsity level, and a very good nucleus coming up for our future next head coach, with the sophomores finishing 22-2 and the freshmen finishing 21-3. So obviously, the cupboard's not bare there, and we're hoping to see some good things again. You met Jalen tonight. It was a big piece to our varsity team this season. And Tom McCluskey, we had a night for Tom. Real nice presentation. Dr. Skinkus gave Tom a piece of the old gym floor. And Tom, very appreciative, great guy, and certainly is going to be missed, and still continues on in his teacher aide role for us here at RB. As far as the numbers go for the winter, obviously they're not as well as we would like. We always can do better, we think, in participation, and we obviously are encouraging it, but some of these numbers, as Tom said, are saturated as far as the basketball numbers go. Boys are around 44, which is pretty much near capacity for the levels that we offer. For boys swimming and diving, numbers dropped a little bit this year. They were more competitive, but we had a large group of seniors graduate last year and a smaller incoming group of freshmen, so that's where that drop occurred. And then also at our freshman orientation night, we did have a nice sign-up group. I think our coach told me 10 to 12 freshmen, so that's encouraging to build up the program again in the future. And then we do have a nice bullets program that helps to feed into the RB swim program. In boys wrestling, we did see a little bit of a numbers drop there. Again, we had a large senior group last year that graduated, and we did have less girls come out. It is a boys sport typically, but obviously girls can participate because there is no girls wrestling in the IHSA level. So last year we had a larger number of girls that did wrestle, so we dropped about 10 in that area, but those things depend on the interest from the females if they want to come out for that sport. But otherwise, we're looking for bigger numbers, like I said, in the future with wrestling because of a strong feeder base that we have coming up. So I think you'll see in about 4 or 5 years a pretty good increase there. So I don't know if you have any questions in regards to the programs.
Any questions on this side?
I don't think there were any questions submitted either, correct?
I just had one thing I brought with in regards to one of the awards that we did submit with the IHSA this year. I did bring the plaque. We put our fall sports in through the IHSA. They have a team award. This is called the Team Academic Achievement Award for achieving a 3.0 GPA in the classroom or participating in interscholastic athletics and activities. What this means is on the varsity level that all athletes, when you combine their grade point averages, average out to 3.0 or better, and every one of our fall sports qualified for it. So they will be put on this plaque. We'll hang this up right outside the athletic office in the hallway. And then I think you got a copy of the team GPAs.
Here, it's the next page.
Ranging from our girls volleyball with a 3.66 was amazing for every member on the varsity team averaged out, all the way down to football with many more competitors involved to a 3.03. So a credit to our athletes, a credit to our coaching staff. We also did the attendance initiative we talked about in the fall with the athletes, where we did set up a goal of a pizza party at the end of the year for the sport that averaged the most daily attendance in school. And you can see there that our boys golf program was a leader with almost 98% attendance in school. So obviously being in school is going to make us perform better in the classroom and also on the playing field. So wanted to share that with you guys.
Oh, that's great.
Any other
Good job.
questions? Thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
All right, let's move on to